Okay, welcome back to the course of agriculture business planning. Now we are in the chapter 7. The topic is selling and data record. So selling here is the continuation from the chapter 6. At the chapter 6, we'll learn selling to discuss about the basic skill that a salesperson have to have. And selling here is how to leverage the customer insight. And also, when we talk about selling, it is directly talk about how to understand our customer. And the data record here is because we want to record everything happen during the selling process. It could be your customer feedbacks, your customer comments, and also your customer behavior, their types, or also their habit. So those things are important to improve your product. Okay, so let's see what we have in this chapter from the introduction. Leveraging the customer insights. Okay, so we want to create the product that help our customer to feel more easier. For example, if we create the product, let's say a tool. So we want to create a tool that help our customer to have like to be easier to do their activity. And the second one, for example, if we produce a product, let's say food or beverage, we want our customer to get more healthy, and also they feel that that product is something can improve their health, or also they taste good, and also it can give some experience for them about food. And that is why we have to learn the things from our customer related to our product, because it will help us to make improvement to our future products. If there is an improvement to our products, and that improvement help the customer to feel more healthy, and also to feel easier to do their tasks, of course they will talk to another one, or also they will give some reviews, and will help to leverage our customer number. So here they say the importance of understanding customer types. So we have to understand the types of our customer, so we can create the product that match with their needs. So by creating the product that match their needs, it will help us to gain a loyal customer. If we have a loyal customer, of course, we will have more customer as well. So create creativity, bringing the insight because of their feedbacks, actually, because of their feedbacks, because of their suggestion, and we adjust their feedbacks to our product, and it will have like creativity into to improve our existing products. Okay, next. From the topic 1. So at the first topic, they say understanding customer types. So we used to hear like customer behavior. Okay, so customers and prospects are broken down into segments. So the prospects here mean those people that have possibility to buy, to eat, or to use our product, but in this moment they haven't yet. Okay, so that is mean the prospect here. So both customer and prospects customer are broken down into segments, because we used to create the product and think about who are going to be the user of my product. So we start to segment our products. Maybe we segment them through their age or through their revenue, through their job, or through their residential, right? So actually there are so many segments that we can group our customer. So let's see here. The segment categorized into two. First is broad and another one is narrow. So what is a broad segment? So here, broad segment still divided into three categories. They are customers, non-customers, and annual review. So customers means here because we have to realize that we create product that not everyone will buy it. Maybe because they cannot buy it because they don't have enough sufficient fund to get it. Or for example, we create a product like food or beverage. We have to realize that not everyone can eat our food and beverage, maybe because their health issue, or maybe because their religion regulation or norm in their family or something like that. So not everyone have to create, to buy, to use, and to eat our product. But those who have like possibility to buy, to eat, to use our product, we call them customer and prospect customers. And the non-customer is those who are not going to buy our products. Okay. For example, if we create a luxury products, so it means that those who in the low income level are not going to buy that product. Okay. And then the third segmentation is according to annual revenue. As I mentioned before, if we produce luxury products, so we have to target our customer who have the annual revenue that is grouped into high level income. Okay, so that is the broad segments. Next, for the second category, it is narrow segment. What is that narrow segment? So I explain this narrow segment by using this example. It is the farmers are grouped according to their commodities. Okay, so for example, you create a tool. Let's say the tool is for the farmer, and let's say, oh, okay, I changed. You produce a product. Let's say that product is fertilizer. Of course, if you produce a fertilizer, you have to put in your mind that your customer and your potential customer are those farmers, right? Because you are not going to sell the fertilizer to the people who feed like goat, pig, or something like that. And of course, by producing the fertilizer, you already know that your customer have to be a farmer. Okay, so that is already in the narrow segmentation. You have to sell the product to the farmer. And then it goes more narrow, and you have to identify that those farmers have many kind of crops that they are cultivating. Some of farmers are cultivating the crops like food crops like rice, corn, or soybean, something like that. And another farmers are cultivating the horticulture crops, vegetables, and fruits. And then some of farmers cultivate plantation crop such as palm oil, rubber, and also cocoa. Okay, So you have to identify, you have to make your segmentation getting narrow, right? So maybe the fertilizer that you produce is going to be applied by the horticulture farmer, because that fertilizer is not suitable for plantation crop. Maybe that's only suitable for tomato or chili. Okay, so that is the example of your narrow segmentation about your customer. So we have to hear the segmentation of our customer. So just put on your mind. So when we create the product, these broad and narrow segments come all together. So when we create product, we already know who are going to be our customer and our potential customer. And then that customer goes to this narrow segment. That customers still can be divided into many kind of segments, such as whether they cultivate food crops, cultivate horticulture, and also plantation crop. Okay, next. Let's go to the second topic. Okay, the second topic here is the buying process. Okay, so at first we have to understand our customers. So like you produce a fertilizer. You already know that now you want to meet that customer or potential customer. Okay, so imagine that. Imagine what I say, like you produce a fertilizer, a kind of fertilizer. And now you know that your potential customer is a farmer. And now you want to meet that farmer and to offer your products. So it happens. There is buying process here. Okay, so imagine that you already meet with the farmer that is going that has a possibility to buy your product. Okay, so in this buying process, it says the buying process involves aligning the sales process with the buying process. Okay, so sales process is the first one. You have to identify your customer. Sales process is from your side, but buying process is from the customer side. Okay, so next, let's see what is important here. So buying is not mutually exclusive to the selling. Why? Let's see here. Because novices tend to sell in a vacuum and do not adequately consider outside factors. So for example, you are a very at the very beginning of your company, and you create the product based on your research that some people will use that, but you miss something. What is something? There is another factors, just like you go to your potential customer, but you haven't fully understood that that customer have some factors that they will not buy your product, and you cannot recognize that. For example, a salesperson makes an appointment to present the product without knowing if the buyer is ready to evaluate option. Okay, let's say for the first example before, you produce a fertilizer and you arrange an appointment with a farmer, okay, and the farmer is willing to meet you, and then it happens. Okay, you present your product, and also you tell them that that product will increase their their crops productivity, and also that products, for example, will help to improve your soil quality, for something like that. But you don't know if that buyer is ready to evaluate option. Why? Why this can be happen? Because you lack of information. Okay, because you lack of information about that farmer. What kind of information? So you have to recognize. So in the previous we have to segment our customer, but in that segment we have to go to more detail. Just like we know that they cultivated particular crops previously, but we have to know when was the last time they cultivate that crops. Maybe they cultivated crops for 1 year, and now they do not cultivate that crops anymore. So that kind of detail we have to explore. So in order to not waste your time and also not waste your energy. So you have to be fully understood that what is happened right now, right here with your customer. Okay. And then the second one is failure to recognize buying situations can lead to a loss of the buyer interest. Okay, so for example, if you offer your the fertilizer you produce, but you cannot recognize the situation of your customer. So like it related to how you approach your customer. If you violate their norm, for example, to offer your product, maybe through your words, or through your acts, maybe they will respect you less, and then they will not buy your product. So that is example of to understand the situation of your buyer. Okay, so for example, I mean, like you have to adjust yourself with your customer situation. How is their culture? How to approach them? How to communicate with them? So that is so important. The next one is important for the buying process is different buyers in various situations will have varying degrees of interest in your sales offering. For example, let's say if you create particular product that is can be consumed by young or older people, of course, how you approach younger people and how you approach older people have to be different. Okay, so that is a kind of their situations. And also these situations come from the segment before we talk about. Okay. So different age will adopt different approach. So you have to pay attention about that. And then, so situation selling relates to adapting your sales strategy. So it is quite similar with the the important things in the point 3. So you have to adjust your strategy to approach different customer. Okay, same products can be sold to the different segment. Okay, so next. So what is the situation? Okay, so I want to go back for a while. So here the buying process. Okay, so what is important in the buying process? We have to pay attention for these 4 points. Okay, in here you have to fully understood your customer. And then you have to really understand their situation. And then in this 3 and 4, you have to adjust your approaching strategy to a different situation. Okay, what kind of situation they mentioned here? Okay, so here, objection or hesitation. So when we offer our product to our customer or potential customer, there could be happen objection or hesitation. This is a kind of situation. Okay, so when you face that kind of situation, objection or hesitation, so what you have to do? You can consider whether objection or hesitation is obstacle or opportunities. And you have to anticipate that every time you want to meet your customer or your potential customer. So before you meet your customer, you have to realize that, well, maybe there will be objection, or well, maybe my customer or my potential customer will feel hesitate about your product. You have to anticipate that. So because you anticipate that, you already have like a preparation how to overcome it. Okay, so like objection or hesitation previously is anticipated as obstacles or opportunities. It can be an obstacle or it can be an opportunity. Okay, so what do you do as a seller? Okay, so maybe you have to identify this. Buyer may need help overcoming an obstacle. Okay, so if you see that objection and hesitation as an obstacle, so you will think that this customer need, so you have to help your customer or your potential customer to overcome their hesitation. Okay, how to do that? Of course, you have to listen to them first. And then but you have to identify that buyer may have underlying concerns. So maybe they underline some important things about your product. Maybe the feature of your product, or maybe your product impacts to the environment, or maybe the easiness to utilize your product. So you have to identify. And then buyer may not feel comfortable in selling engagement. So you have to identify that. Like in the selling engagement, maybe they feel not comfortable if you ask particular information. So you have to identify these 3 things in order to face the situation like objection or hesitation. Okay, so as a seller, what is your response? Because at first you have to identify those buyer side. Okay, these three things can be happen into your potential customer. So as a seller, what do you want to do? What do you have to do? Okay, so you have to listen them in order to be able to identify their concern, their the uncomfortableness that they assume. Okay, so you have to listen them, and then you have to set aside counter response and self-interest. So just listen them and ignore for a while your self-interest. Okay, in order to be able to fully understood your customer. And then seek the root cause. How can you seek the root cause? Of course, you have to listen very carefully and also identify their fear, and then you will find the root of their hesitation. Okay, and then adjust sales approach. So after you fully understood them, you listen to them very carefully, and you know the reason, and you have to adjust your sales approach. Okay, so because sales approach to every customer is different according to their situation. Okay, so you cannot learn only one sales approach, and you have to do more, you have to sell more, you have to talk more with your customer so you can understand many things about your customer situation. And next, another situation. So the situation when in the buying process is not only objection or hesitation. I have so many situations here. If there is advanced product or service needs, okay? For example, if you create, if you produce a food, let's say plant-based meat or something like that. And then you can see this as an obstacle or opportunities. Okay. Okay. So seller may need to qualify other people departments. So for example, here advanced product or service needs. Let's say the plant-based meat. Okay. So in your product, maybe you don't prepare something to help to keep your product stay fresh, right? But your customer need that kind of product, need that kind of service. So it can be your obstacle and also your opportunities. It can be your obstacle because you have to add more cost to create that kind of product, that kind of, or maybe treatment or maybe packaging to keep your product fresh, right? Or it can be your opportunities, because if you have that kind of additional service or additional innovation in your product, it will help your product get a higher price and also get more customer that concerned about the freshness of the product. Okay, so how to adjust that? How to adjust that situation when your customer asks your product to be to stay fresh? So of course, you need to qualify other people departments. For example, now because of their feedback, now you want the department from the packaging to have to be more qualified to create that kind of demand. Okay, so you want them to make something some innovations to keep your plant-based meat to stay fresh, right? So who can do that? Of course, the people from the packaging department, for example, or maybe the people from the Department of Research and Development. So you have to qualify other departments. For example, if you are in the marketing department or in the marketing department, so you have to ask the people in the research and development department or the people in the packaging department, production department. And then profile high potential opportunities and target. So when you get that kind of demand, who wants the fresh product because of their packaging or because of the quality inside the product, and next you identify, right? You identify the high potential opportunities. For example, you finally do the market research. How many people want this kind of product? So by doing that, if you see there is a high potential for that demand, of course, you have to create a kind of product. So you have to profile that. How is their segment? Who are those people needs this kind of demand? So that is the moment you profile your potential customer, because by offering that kind of product to the market, you will get more profit and you will get more customer. Okay, and then seller assess high level contacts. Okay, so actually this is different from the point 1 and the point 2, but let's make the example is still plant-based meat. Okay, so for example, you produce a plant-based meat and you want to offer it into the restaurant, okay, vegetarian restaurant, let's say. And in order to be able to get higher opportunity, you have to assess a high level context. Let's say in a restaurant, maybe there is people, there is many layers of structure, leadership structure, right? So if you ask the lower level, let's say the people who offer the service to the visitor, or to the people who cook, something like that, of course you will not get the higher potential. But if you assess the contact, the high level contact, let's say the manager or the leader of that restaurant, of course, and you present your product to them, and because they will make the decision, right, directly to you, compare with if you talk with the lower level people in that leadership structure. They have to ask their boss at first. Oh, okay, maybe I will ask my boss at first, and then another boss will ask their boss. So it is it costs time, right? So you better off assess a high level context of your potential customer. If this process is like business to business, right? But if like the process is business to customer, it's okay. You just go to your potential customer. And then salesperson response. So identify contacts for advanced products. So this is the continuation from this one, the third one. Okay. So here you have to identify contacts for advanced products. Make sure that you will talk or you offer your product to the people who is in charge to take the decision. Okay. And then you have to identify that. Sorry. You have to prospect to targeted list. So you already identify at first that I will meet the people who is in charge to take the decision. And then you make many lists, the target, important target. Okay, so you go to prospect them. And then start a higher level or transition to higher level early. So you have to assess contact to the people who are in charge to make a decision. Okay. And then the next situation is contact level. This is the continuation of the first one I have mentioned. Lower level contact will be more accessible. Of course, it is easier to meet the lower level contact compared with to the chief of executive, something like that. But you could get stuck at lower level contact. Why? Because maybe they will not deliver your talk to the higher level. Maybe because they don't talk to the higher level. So it's better if you directly access to the higher level. So how you overcome this if you want to get a higher contact? Yeah, you have to start it. You have to be confident enough to start with a higher level to present your product. And you have to be sure enough that your product is something that has a good quality and to improve their profit. Okay, so at the very beginning, you have to contact the higher level contact. And then adjust sales message to level of audience. Okay, so it means that if you contact the lower level and also middle or executive one, you have to present in a different way. Okay, you have to learn how to adjust your communication way. But of course, all lower, middle, and executive, you have to respect them. And then let's see the next situation, group individual dynamics. Yeah, so it can create opportunities when, as a seller, you can recognize buyers' communication style. So you get into the community. That is, the community is your potential customer or your customer. So you finally understand how to communicate with them, and you can start to offer your product. And then seller adapts to buyer preferences. So by involving with their community, you finally understand their preferences. So you have to adapt that. And then seller recognize group dynamics. So how dynamic is this group? So you have to recognize whether this product will be stay longer with them, or whether this product is just for a while. That kind of dynamic you have to understand in your customer or your potential customer. Yeah, and yeah, you have to notice the style and preference that is actually related to the behavior and the preferences of your customer. How to do to know it very clear? Yeah, because you have to get involved to their life, to their community, to their group. So don't be exclusive yourself. Okay. And then use connecting to build rapport. So it is important if you have like another person that can build a bridge between you and your and particular community. And then you have to adapt to style and preference. So this is very clear about the process, right? So you have to notice them, notice the style and preferences at first, and then you have to use connecting. For example, in the first point, you are an outsider, right? You are an outsider, but you notice the community style and their preferences. But you can just picture it from the outside, from the far side. And now you need connection to bridge you and that community. It can be a people, or it can be an organization, or it can be an event. Okay, so after you do this, and finally, you have to adapt to style and preferences. Okay, and then by adapting with their style and preferences, you can finally create the product that they want, the product that they need. Okay, so that is why this group individual dynamics is a kind of opportunity for you, because you can adjust your product with their needs. Okay, and next situation is customer appetite for change. Okay, how do your customer really love the change? How do they respond it? Okay, so I put it here. It is actually an opportunity. By understanding that if they are the change lover, it means you have to keep adjusting your product. But if they just like don't like a change, yeah, you don't have to adjust your product. Or maybe you have to find another customer, another to add more innovations into your product. Okay, so seller recognize current product situation. Okay, so you have to recognize the current product situation. Let's say you create a product like electronic product, something like that, and now it is no longer suitable to another device. So you have to recognize the current product situation, whether it is still acceptable for today's moment, or whether it's no longer acceptable for today's moment. Okay, so you have to identify the customer. You have to ask you have to recognize the situation of your customer as well, and also to recognize your situation of your non-user, and also to recognize your competitor. Okay, so here to recognize your current product situation based on your customer, and also based on your non-user, and based on your competitor. That is how you can understand your product situation. Maybe your customers say, well, okay, this these things is no longer help my activity, or maybe non-users say, oh, I don't use that because I don't like the appearance. Or maybe from your competitor, maybe your competitor really fully create the product that is suitable for today's moment. And next, sorry. Okay, this is we have customer appetite, production situation from your customer, from your non-user, and also from your competitor. And then how to see this as a opportunity. Okay, after you understand the situation of your product, and then you create this as an opportunity by gauging buyer interest level, timing, and authority to act. So here you definitely have to do like market research. How is your buyer's interest level, timing, authority to act? Okay, for example, you create a business product and beverage, you have to gauge your buyer's interest level. To gauge it, just like do they like, really like, or just neutral, something like that. And the timing. When do the customer will buy your product? And also the authority to act, whether they will buy it or will not buy it. Okay, and then as a salesperson for the customer appetite, you have to adjust sales approach to current disposition. How to do that? You have to identify the high interest, because when you do when there is a disposition of the product, there will be a high interest. People from even for your existing customer, some of them will have a high interest, low, or just like ordinary interest. And then compelling need to act. So you have to recognize these three things. When you finally realize there is the disposition into your product. And next, the next situation is industry business conditions. So not only from your product situation, but also in your industry business condition. Okay, so seller recognize industry situation. So I mentioned before, for example, you produce plant-based meat. So you have to understand whether right now people really want that kind of product, plant-based meat. So you have to do it by doing research. You have to recognize the industry situation. Okay, the industry situation, it could be your customer preferences, and also government regulation, and also customer knowledge, something like that. And then seller learn buyer's company financial performance. In the why it is important, because you have to understand the company financial in order to make sure you propose idea for a new innovation, and that will cost your company more. So how to identify that? Of course, you have to do the research. And then as a sales person, your response is prioritize contact plan. Okay, so you have to prioritize contact plan in order to understand your business industry situation. What is your contact plan? Maybe your contact plan is for example, if it's happen for business to business, your contact plan is from the high level one. Okay, so if your situation, if your business industry situation is like not really good enough, and you have to think like potential development. Potential development come from those who can make a quick decision in order to invest some number of money, right? And this is the best opportunities at first, okay, to help to get help. And then adapt sales approach based on current conditions. Okay, so adapt sales approach based on current conditions. For example, your business industry is not good enough, so it means your sales approach will be applying an approach that is not cost much of your company. So you don't have to like to pay like celebrity, or you just do the sales through social medias or your website company. And then if there is a situation like internal silos or politics at play, so it can be an obstacle and opportunity as well. So you that kind of obstacle is there is a fragmented communication across departments. It's something difficult to be faced. And then bureaucratic procedures, it can be obstacle as well. It can help, it can make us to waste many more times, because we have to wait and we have to prepare many kind of documents. And infighting and envious relations, this is not so health condition, right? There's infighting and envious relation maybe according to department or uh, uh, department, or the people in the same department, but other person and another person in the same department. This will lead the company process into bad things. Okay. So if that situation happen, as a salesperson, what are you going to do? So you have to proactively explore intercommunication effectiveness and adjust accordingly. So you have to learn which kind of communication that is not good in this team. Okay, so you have to explore that and to solve that as soon as possible. And then the next situation is sales process applicability. Okay, if there is a situation about sales process applicability, so you recognize the value of the sale. Okay, you have to recognize the value of the sale, and then as a seller, you recognize low or simple transactional process. Okay, it is about the process for the transactional. Of course, everyone loves simple transactional. And then seller matches selling situations with correct sales method. So I have mentioned before, different situation, different segmentation will apply different approach. Same here, that seller matches selling situations with correct sales method. So you have to identify the situation at first, the situation 1 until situation 8. Sorry. And then as a salesperson, how to do that? You have to predetermine the sales process based on product value or complexity. Okay, so that sales process will be adjusted to that product value or complexity. Of course, you have to uh, tell your customer the value of your product and its complexity. And then high quality for both sales and processes. Okay, for both sales process and buying process. Sorry, so high quality for both sales process and buying process. Okay, and then adjust to buyer's buying process. So you have to adjust to the buying process. Okay, the topic 3. This is a further explanation about the contact level we have mentioned in the beginning. So there is executive, mid-level, and lower level. So for this chapter 7, you are encouraged if one day you produce a product and you want to offer that product for it if the offering form is business to business one, it is better you access to the executive level. Okay, because of what? Because the executive level is the one who is in charge to make a decision. So you present the best thing you have, and also you will ask the decision. Maybe they will think it for 1 or 2 days or a week, for example. But it is different if you access the lower level at first, because this lower level cannot make a decision, right? So they only can make a decision if they talk to the mid-level position. And also this mid-level position also is not fully allowed to make a decision, right? So these people in this level also have to ask the executive. So in order to save your time and also to get your how to say that, to get your to get the conclusion in a very quick, you just can go to the executive. Okay. Okay, so now data record and exercise. So, well, everyone, for the data record, I have put the data record for this chapter, and that is put in the Google Sheet, and everyone will fill that Google Sheet according to the name of the column I have written. So in that form, there is a column for your customer name, and also for their feedbacks, and also for their comments. So that is going to be your that is going to be your task for this week. So every group have to fill it, and I will monitor them through the how to say that, through the Google Form. Let me see that. Let me help you to see that. Okay, so in this part, you have to learn the name of your customer, okay, and also their feedback as well. What is their feedback? And I type it here. There is group 1, group 2, group three until group 12. So everyone will write down the 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 things you face when you do the selling process. Okay, and this is the column for solution you offer when you face the struggle you face struggle and you when you are struggling, and this is the column for the things you have learned by doing these things. Okay, so I will see your progress through this form, and then let me see to the next. And don't forget to put the picture of your promotion, okay, of your publication of your product, and also the documentation of your buyer. So put it here. Okay. So you have to fill this form, and I will monitor your progress through this Google Sheet. Okay. So every group have to do that. Okay. I think that is for today. And thank you so much for your attention.